5 years ago, in 2019, after 13 years of waiting, Kingdom Hearts 3 was finally released. No! Stop the music! It doesn't work here! Dearly beloved! Like hell this game is dearly beloved! Let's find something more suitable. There we go. Okay, despite what you must be thinking by now, I don't actually hate this game. There is quite a lot to like and appreciate about it. It's just that it fails so badly to break even with all that's wrong with the game. And what's wrong with the game is some of the worst in the entire Kingdom Hearts franchise, right up there with Dream Drop Distance. Let's start with the positives. First off, the graphics are incredible, particularly in regard to the Disney worlds. Every world and character looks exactly like the original movies. And speaking of the Disney worlds, they have the best level design in the series hands down. While KH1 prioritized exploration in its level design, and KH2 prioritized combat, KH3's levels are able to balance both seamlessly. But what makes them even better is that each world contains its own subgenre of gaming in order to make each experience unique. Olympus feels like a hard action game, specifically the original God of War games. Toy Box gives you a first-person shooter. The Kingdom of Corona is like a sim game, with Rapunzel as the object of growth as you fulfill specific events with her. Monstropolis is a survival challenge. Arendelle features a labyrinthian dungeon and a wide mountainous overworld straight out of a Zelda game. The Caribbean is an open-world game with ship combat, just like Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. San Francisco is a superhero game. And the 100-Acre World is, well, the minigame world as usual. The point is that none of the worlds feel exactly the same, so the 3 or so hours you usually have to spend in each one doesn't feel like such a drag. Twilight Town also makes for a great hub world. Yes, it's smaller than in KH2, but I think the game more than makes up for that by how much more alive they make it feel. There are walking, talking NPCs everywhere, new places for social gatherings such as the bistro and the theater, and even the forest the old mansion resides in now feels like it's a real forest. More than ever, you can actually imagine living in this place. And as for other original worlds, both the final world and Scala Acalam are superbly designed and wonderfully atmospheric. The gummy ship is also good in this game. It feels like an open-ended version of KH1's gummy ship, with you now being able to fly anywhere as opposed to being stuck in a straight line, while engaging enemies in combat returns you to KH2 style of side-scroll shooting. Lastly, while the combat in this game is a downgrade from KH2's, I can't say that I don't have fun with it. Between regular combos, special techniques, magic, summons, team attacks, shot locks, flowmation, and now introducing attractions as special Keyblade forms, you are never at a loss for options in how to deal with enemies. Admittedly, this makes the game a tad too easy, even on critical mode, but it still feels satisfying. So, if all you're looking for is a game that is beautiful to look at and fun to play and lets you adventure through Disney worlds alongside Disney characters, then I'm happy to say that KH3 delivers. But if you wanted a good, cohesive, conclusive, and satisfying story with well-written original characters to go along with that, oh boy, are you in for a disappointment. Look, this game's story was always doomed to be a mess. We'll have 6 games released between KH2 and KH3 that all must be played in order to fully understand and appreciate KH3's story, to say nothing of KH1, KH2, and the game released between them. You're just asking for it to be a clusterfuck. The way series director Tetsuya Nomura tried to justify this is by claiming that all of these games were part of one large narrative, the Darkseeker Saga, and that KH3's story is so overloaded because it's concluding this narrative, in a similar fashion to how Infinity War and Endgame wrapped up the MCU's Infinity Saga. So on that note, it is genuinely shocking just how badly the story of KH3 fails at doing what it is supposedly meant to be doing. For one thing, the Disney World visits have never felt more like filler. If you recall, in Cage 1, every world visit progressed the plot along, sometimes in little ways and sometimes in big ways, but always in some way. In Cage 2, only around half the world visits had relevance to the plot, but even in the ones that didn't, you still had a reason to be there, and you were still fighting and killing Heartless, which progressed the main villain's goal. Here, there is no reason for Sora to even go to these worlds beyond his heart being his guiding key and leading him to them. His goal is to obtain the power of waking, which is never detailed as to how he can do that, and in every world visit he fails to do so, and nothing that the villains do in these worlds actually comes back into play with their overall plan, which just amounts to fighting the heroes in this one place. You could cut these Disney World visits out of the story and miss absolutely nothing, which isn't something you could say of Cage 1 or Cage 2. Even the spin-off titles have better justifications for the Disney World visits than this game does. The game's story only achieves forward momentum after all the Disney World visits have been completed, meaning only in the last 5 hours of the game's campaign. And what happens beforehand in between those Disney World visits? Either characters spinning their wheels and being incompetent, such as Yensid telling Sora he can't just go to the realm of darkness and save Aqua until he has the power of waking, only for Sora to ultimately end up going there and saving her without the power of waking just fine, or, no joke, setups for future games. Nomura just cannot wait to wrap up this saga before starting on these new ideas he's clearly more invested in. He just has to put them out now. The mysterious black box that Maleficent and Peter are looking for, the girl from Hollow Bastion that both Ansem and Science are obsessing over, the secret pasts and true identities of characters like Ventus, Vanitas, Zigbar, or Luxord, not to mention Verum Rex, which I'll get to later. None of it amounts to anything in this game. They're all just teases for the future. It's as if Endgame spent half its time teasing Kang the Conqueror. It makes no sense and drags down the whole experience, which is supposed to be a finale. All of this terrible pacing and writing might have been forgivable if you at least still cared about the characters, or if the ultimate payoff at the end of the game felt worth it. But neither of those things are true. The characters have been flattened to the stupidest degree possible. Sora is just dumb and childish and the butt of jokes, who is constantly said to be weak and not true Keyblade Master material, even as the gameplay makes him more OP than ever, and he is constantly shown succeeding where the alleged true Keyblade Masters keep failing. Riku is a stoic bore with wooden voice acting, both his new character design and his new Keyblade sucking out all the charm he used to have. And then there's Kairi. Oh good God, there's Kairi. Not only has all the sass and bravery been removed, so she's now just Sora's sweet, polite little waifu, but all that build-up of her becoming a skilled Keyblade wielder who can hold her own in a fight gets thrown in the fucking garbage in favor of making her a damsel in distress yet again, this time in the most pathetic way possible, and then outright killing her. And no, it doesn't matter that she's brought back to life in the end. Her character is still dead. Nomura killed it out of sheer misogynistic spite. I could go on about the failings of this game's characters, about how Lee is just pure comic relief, or how Aqua now exists to lose every single fight she's placed in, or how the way certain characters get brought back into existence makes no sense whatsoever and actively ruins all that was effective about those characters and their story to begin with. But I think you get the picture. So I'll just tackle the last, possibly most important character, Master Xehanort himself. Not only does he only show up at the very end of the game, and not only is he horrendously voiced by the miscast late Rutger Hauer, but following the all-too-easy final boss battle against him, his backstory and motivations are retconned yet again in a way that is used to provide him with an unsatisfying, sympathetic send-off that feels like a slap in the face to everyone who has waited almost a decade to see him pay for all the damage he's caused and the lives he's ruined. Why even bring him back at all following Birth by Sleep and position him as this uber mastermind villain if, beyond all of the other problems this creates, you're actually going to make us attempt to feel for him at the last goddamn minute? The game ends with a schmaltzy happy ending for all. All except for Sora, that is, who sacrifices his life using the power of waking to resurrect Kairi. Oh, but he's not dead, of course. He's just been transported to the world of Verum Rex, a video game we saw back in Toy Box. At the time, it looked like just a jokey reference to Final Fantasy Versus 13, the game Nomura toiled on for years only to be kicked off as it was remolded into Final Fantasy 15. But no, it's a real plot-relevant thing, as is its Noctis clone of a protagonist, Yozora. And thus, through the Kingdom Hearts series, Nomura is going to get another shot at making Versus 13. Because that's exactly what I got into Kingdom Hearts for it to evolve into a literal Final Fantasy spin-off instead of a Disney series by way of the people behind Final Fantasy. Wait, no it's not! And that, with people, is why I am done. Yes, the Remind DLC applied some fixes to the game, and I did enjoy them, but beyond that, I am bidding this series goodbye. Remember back in my Birth by Sleep video, when I said there was darkness within the light of that game? Kingdom Hearts 3 is that times 1,000. There is so much light, so much good, so much fun in this game. But the darkness within it is just so appallingly dark that it has killed any interest I have in future titles. What this game has shown me is that in the Kingdom Hearts series, nothing actually matters. The story and lore of its universe will never stop growing increasingly confusing. The characters and their personalities, backstories, and motivations will never remain consistent. Old junk we should have left behind ages ago, like that goddamn black hooded coat, will never go away. Disney World, and with only a few exceptions, Disney characters will never be relevant. We'll never have any truly new big bads with new evil plans to face. Just villains who are revealed to be the real mastermind behind all the villains and evil schemes we've thwarted before. And at any given point, the series will transform into anything that Tetsuya Nomura wants it to be. And the series that can be anything is ultimately a series that is nothing. It's all sound and fury, all flash with no substance. What started out meaning the world to me, now just leaves me feeling increasingly empty. In the original Kingdom Hearts, Ansem said that darkness is the heart's true essence. And when it comes to the heart of this series, he was right. And yet, nothing. Not Dream Drop Distance, not Kingdom Hearts 3, not Melody of Memory, not Kingdom Hearts 4, not any of Nomura's never-ending bullshit can take away the best of what Kingdom Hearts used to be and what it means to me and many others. They say it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. And I suppose that can apply to the Kingdom Hearts series. Except that honestly, even with me leaving the series behind, what have I actually lost? I can still play mission mode in 358 days over 2, and love it. I can still skip all the cutscenes and just play through the worlds in Birth by Sleep and even Cage 3, and love it. And by God, I can still return to Cage 1, Chain of Memories, and Cage 2, and their accumulative epic story, and fucking love it! In my mind, and more importantly, in my heart, Sora, Riku, and Kairi will always be together on Destiny Islands with that letter from King Mickey, and I can imagine any number of adventures that it could lead them into. And I will always be grateful to Disney, to Square Enix, and yes, even to Nomura, for that. Farewell, everyone. And may your heart be, you know what.